Okay, so now we're recording. We're recording this training to make available for those that couldn't attend tonight. It will go up on YouTube. We'll share a link on our Facebook page for those that want to go back and watch it again or haven't seen it yet. We are making all the information that I'm sharing tonight available in hard copy. Please don't feel like you have to remember everything. Oh, somebody's really loud. I'm not sure who that is. So we'll make the information available. There is a link in the chat feature. If you go down to the bottom of your screen, you'll see a chat balloon down there. If you click on the chat balloon, you'll see a link to a PDF that's on our website. That has all the training information on it. You can click on that link. It'll take you right there. It'll tell you everything that I'm telling you tonight will be available in that document as well. You can keep that. You can print that off. Oh, thanks, Colin. If there is a question that you have tonight, just kind of hang on to it until the end. There's a good chance I might answer your question sometime during my talk. If I don't answer your question, then by all means, ask the question at the end and I'll answer all the questions that I can. The members of our reopening committee are with us as well, so I asked them to join us because they might be able to answer a few questions as well. We have an opportunity to be do something that nobody in Thompson has done before, and that's reopen after a pandemic. We'll be the first church that, to my knowledge, to open fully and be ready to go. But I might be wrong in that. But I'm excited that we're going to be inviting people back to our building, God's people and guests to come and experience the goodness of God at TPA, and you get a chance to be a part of that. I thank you for that. One of the things that we recognize is that there's some new positions and new features in our volunteer positions. And what we're hoping is that you'll allow us to put you in a position to serve for the first month or two. If you're okay with us putting you in a spot, we're going to put you in a spot that we think works best for you. If there's a position that you don't want to do, if there's a particular position you don't want to do, please let me know tonight so we won't schedule you there. We'll do our best to put you in a spot that is best for you. Again, there's a chat feature available down there. You can chat to the entire group or you can chat to me specifically. If there's a position that you don't want to do, or you've already let me know that there's a position you do want to do only, then let me know that tonight. So when we start scheduling, we won't put you somewhere that you don't think you would fit. There are 4 positions, seating and traffic flow. We would call them ushers in the past. We have those are the people that are actually going to take people to their assigned seats. No longer will people be able to choose where they sit. They'll be seated in a specific spot. Hang on, somebody said they couldn't find the link, so I'm going to repost this. Everyone in meeting. Okay. Okay, there's the link again. Hopefully everybody got it now. So ushers or seating people that will take people to their seats. They will be the traffic flow people. They will be the ones that let people know what order to leave the building in. We also have guest services. Those are going to be the question people. People are going to come to you if they have questions about what's going on with kids ministry. Where do I get an activity bag? How do I give? That will be at our new welcome kiosk. So we need a person to do that job. We also have we need a check-in person. our Sunday morning is going to become very technology heavy. You need to reserve a spot with your cell phone, and you need to check in when you arrive with your cell phone. That means we have a record of who's actually in the building in case somebody does turn up sick. They can be contacted, and we can do contact tracing, so a check-in person. And we also have pre-screening. So before you actually get to join us at church, you have to go through a screening process where the screener will ask you some questions about your health. They'll take your temperature, provide a mask for you if you need one. So those are the 4 positions that we're looking to fill. So we need 6 people every Sunday to make that happen. 2 screeners, 2 seating people, 1 check-in person, and 1 guest services person. So while I'm going through the process there, or explaining it to you, please let me know if there's anywhere that you do not want to serve. If you're okay with us putting you anywhere, then you don't have to tell me anything. We will schedule you for a position, and we will be moving on from there. Our first week is August the 9th, and we hope to get a schedule done this week for the first week or 2. So
if we don't want something, I'm not on that chat. So how do I let you know if I don't want something?
Oh, okay. Well, you should be able to access the chat feature on your on your phone, Donna.
Yeah, but I don't want to. I get mixed up on that chat. Can't I just tell you now?
Oh, just send me an email, Donna. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, that would be helpful.
Thank you.
So we want everyone to be safe. That includes you. We want you to be safe. So while you're serving on Sunday morning, we strongly encourage you all to wear a mask. Wear a mask while you're serving, because in every position that you're in, it will be impossible for you to stay 6 feet away from everyone. So for your safety and for everybody else's safety, we would like you to wear a mask. It is always voluntary. At this point, it's voluntary for anybody to wear a mask at church. We're not going to make anybody wear a mask. But the point is, when you wear a mask, you make it comfortable for other people to wear a mask, and you invite them to feel safe. So we encourage you to wear a mask. If you're going to be screening, certainly it's very, very important for you to wear a mask, because at that point, we don't know what people's health status is. We have masks available at the church. We also have those clear plastic face shields that you see people wearing. Those will be available as well. So we'll make those available to all our volunteers every week. We encourage you to wear those as well. You don't have to wear them for the entire service, but certainly while you're serving, interacting with the public, we encourage you to do that. So if you really don't feel the need to wear a mask, then wear it for somebody else's sake. Wear it for the person who is immune compromised that's coming to church, maybe. Wear it for the person who is nervous about coming to church for the first time. So we would appreciate that. Also, we want everybody to serve with a humble and gracious attitude. A lot of the things that we are experiencing now, and that people are going to experience at church, seems very confrontational. We ask people to stop and wait. We make sure we ask them questions. We want them to answer questions. It does feel a little bit adversarial when you're at these moments, but we want to serve as humbly as we possibly can and make it seem as friendly and non-confrontational as possible. So humility is a key part of every position. We are not trying to control anybody. We are not trying to tell anybody what to do. We're just trying to make things as safe as possible for everyone. We're there to help. We're there to support. We're there to assist, and not control or order people around. And our first priority is to provide a safe worship experience for those who are brave enough to attend in person. So that's what we're trying to do. So the first person everyone will meet when they show up to church on Sunday is our screening station. They would also be considered our greeters, because they're the first contact that we have with people. We need 2 people each week to do that. And the key for this role is to have a humble attitude. We are not trying to judge people or be critical of them by screening them. We are seeking to make church a safe place for everyone, including the person that you're dealing with. You are not there to protect everybody else from them. You are there to protect them as well as everyone else. And something that would be good to do is to engage with people before they get to your station. There's going to be a place in the building for people to line up and wait to come to the screening station. Don't feel like you can't greet somebody and say hello to them. Welcome everyone with a smile. Even if you're wearing a mask, people can tell if you're smiling. So smile at everyone. Smile with your eyes if you can do that. And everybody that's married knows you can smile with your eyes. Every parent knows you can scowl with your face. You can give your kids the look. You can give somebody waiting in line the look as well. And let everybody know that COVID-19 is the reason for all these extra steps and this extra process, and that we appreciate their cooperation. So there is actually a screening script that we have that will be at the table where you do your screening. It's laminated. It gives you all the questions to ask. There's about 4 questions that you have to ask. As well as asking the questions, we take people's temperatures. We have a forehead thermometer. You hold the thermometer about 4 inches away from somebody's forehead, gives you their temperature instantly. Anybody who has a temperature under 37.5 is allowed to enter the building. If they have a temperature above 37.5, we ask them to wait 10 minutes and then we'll take their temperature again. If after a second temperature reading, they are still over 37.5, we just let them know that unfortunately we aren't able to receive you into the building today. Please come back another time when you're feeling better. Once you go through the questions and they answer no to all the questions, we will ask them if they want a mask. If they don't have a mask, we can provide one for them. We encourage them to go to the hand sanitizer station, which is right next to you where you're screening people. Ask them to sanitize their hands. Remind them to stay 6 feet apart. Let them know that somebody is going to escort them to their seat, and that we'll be seating them from front to back and exiting in reverse. And then you thank them for coming and tell them we're very grateful for their cooperation, and send them on to the check-in station, which is the next place for them to stop. So that's what we ask our screeners to do. Our check-in station, that we need 1 person at the check-in station every week. This is a spot for people who are comfortable with technology. We ask those people to be humble and gracious as well. Having to, just as well as being screened, having to have people check in for church is going to be a new experience for everyone. But everyone must stop and check in before they proceed. Most people will have pre-registered for church, which means they have a reservation, they've reserved their spot, and the check-in station just confirms that they're in attendance of the building. We know that not everybody that registers will actually check in, so we only want to be contacting people who actually checked into the building. That's why everybody must stop at the check-in station and then check in. If somebody comes to the building and hasn't registered, if the guest just says, oh, there's church today, I'm going to stop in, they haven't pre-registered and we have space, all they have to do is check in, and that automatically signs them to a space that's available. And we'll know on Sunday morning when we get to the building how many extra spaces that we can fill. So hopefully we won't be turning people away, but we know that there is a maximum number of people we can receive into the building. Now, we need to remind people that the information that we're collecting is only for contact tracing. 21 days after the event, so 21 days after the Sunday, all their contact information is automatically expunged out of that system. So we don't keep a record of who was in the building past 21 days. It's only kept as long as we need to in case somebody does test positive for COVID-19, so we can go back over that period of time and contact everyone who was in the building. And the next step after the check-in process is either to go see an usher to be seated, or to go to guest services for any information, or to drop their tithes and offering off at our new kiosk. So the next position is our guest services person. This is where you go to ask questions. This will be the person that helps people figure out, how does this new thing work? Where can I go to the bathroom? What's available for my kids during the Sunday morning service? This is the place where those kinds of questions will be answered. We need one person at guest services each week. We want the people there, again, to be humble and gracious. This is all new for people. People are going to be confused. People are going to be uncertain. They're going to be a bit anxious and uncertain on how to behave. So our guest services person is going to help alleviate some of that anxiety and uncertainty by answering questions and giving information. And a key for this person is to not assume people know what to do, but to patiently teach them. You're going to answer the same questions over and over and over again. You might answer the same question that another station has already answered. Again, why do you have to collect my contact information? Why do you have to take my temperature? Why do I have to answer those questions? So we want to be patient with people while they learn what the new process looks like. If we're doing this 3, 4, or 5 months from now, there'll be very few questions asked because everybody will be used to it. But for now, we expect that there'll be lots of questions. So what we want to encourage the guest services person to do is to watch people as they enter. They're going to be looking for directions. They're going to be looking for information. They're going to look to somebody to direct them where they go next. Even with arrows on the floor and even with an obvious layout, people coming with preconceived ideas of what church is going to look like are going to expect to do what they did the last time they were in church, which was in March. We're going to need to keep our eyes open for those people, and hopefully guest services can help us with that. If somebody does come to your station, greet them warmly. Be excited to see them. And after they've gone to screening, and after they've gone to hand sanitizing, and after they've been to check-in and registration, if they don't go to the ushers, they might come to you. So you need to be aware of what is and what isn't available in church now. You need to know that there's no nursery available. There's no nursing mom's room. You need to know that only the upstairs washroom is available for people to use. There's no kids ministry. Then there's no children's church. In fact, there's no access to the downstairs of the building at all on Sunday mornings. And you need to know that activity bags are going to be available for the kids, and that's going to be part of your responsibility to hand those out to families when they come in, to let them know that they can take an activity bag and return it to the bin after the service. The activity bags that you hand out will be safe. When the activity bags come back, you don't touch them. They just go in a bin, and they wait until 72 hours pass before somebody handles them again, and then we'll reload them for the next week. One of the questions you're going to be asked is, what about singing? Can I sing? And of course, at this point in time, there is no congregational singing. We will not be permitting or encouraging singing. So that will be something you'll need to remind people of. There'll also be no offering taken up. We will not pass an offering plate anymore. Our new guest services or welcome kiosk has a place for people to securely put their offering. There's a slot in the top. They can use the debit machine there, and they can drop their envelope right in the slot there without anybody else touching it. But nobody will be taking up an offering. You can assist people that might need help with the debit machine. We will ask you to wipe down the debit machine in between each person that uses it. Also, the pen that people use, we'll ask you to wipe that down. We will provide you with gloves and hand sanitizing wipes to do all that with. We would ask you to give people some privacy when they're using the debit machine, to make yourself scarce during that moment in time, just so you're not staring at the debit machine while they're using it. The last position we have is our seating and traffic control. Those are our ushers. We need 2 people for that job every week. Again, being humble and gracious is a key part of serving here. People are not going to be accustomed to being told where to sit. This is going to be a very difficult thing to get used to for people. Most churches, well, every church I've ever been in, the back seats fill up first. And we can't do that. We have to fill the front seats first and the back seats last. That's going to be difficult for people. So you'll need to remind everyone that COVID-19 has created new and inconvenient changes to how we do church, including how we seat people. All the seats are 6 feet apart from one another. We have groups of seats. Some groups of seats are large and some groups of seats are small. Chairs are set up 6 feet apart and they have to stay where they are. You can't move a chair from one row and add it to another. That wouldn't be safe. People are permitted to sit with their family from their same household or anybody who came in the same vehicle with them. So if the Winships picked up a guest and brought a guest to church with them, that guest could sit in the same row with them because they traveled in the same vehicle as them. If the Allards picked up Grandma Susan and brought Grandma Susan Hoffer to church with them, they could sit together. Again, we'll be sitting people from front to back in the auditorium as much as possible, and that'll help us prevent people from walking past one another and potentially spreading more disease. Everybody will enter the auditorium from the right-hand side. So if you remember what our church looks like, we have a wooden door on the right-hand side. We have the glass doors on the left-hand side. Everybody will enter on the right-hand side and exit on the left-hand side. So nobody is crossing through a doorway at the same time as somebody else. We're asking our ushers to seat people in rows that match their size. Excuse me. We have rows of 2 chairs, so singles or pairs will sit in those rows. If you are a group of 3 or more, you'll sit in one of our larger rows. The majority of our rows are set up with 5 chairs, so a family of 3, 4, or 5 can sit together there in those rows. If your family is larger than 5 people, you would have to occupy 2 rows. Because again, we can't add chairs to a row to make it longer because then it would be too close to their neighbors. If we run out of rows for people that are in 1s or 2s, if that occasion should happen, we would actually have to start seating people 1s or 2s in larger rows, but we'll wait until we absolutely have to do that. You cannot seat single people at the opposite ends of a row of 5 chairs because 3 chairs in between is not 6 feet. To be safe, you would have to have 4 chairs in between 2 single people, and we actually only have 1 row in the church that can do that. Items that we'll need to be reminding people about when they are seated. And we'll be reminding them this from the pulpit as well. We'll be having slides and announcements. If we do a bulletin, it'll be in there as well, that people need to remain seated as much as possible. Being in the building is risky. Being in the building and moving around close to people increases the level of risk. So staying in your seat as much as possible is important. Stay away from everyone that's not in your household by at least 6 feet. That includes even the cute little children that might be coming to church with their parents. Please do not allow your children or other people's children to get closer than 6 feet to anyone else either. That's something we'll be reminding parents of. You're going to have to resist the urge to pick children up. You're going to have to resist the urge to high-five children. You're going to have to resist the urge to let them hug you. Unfortunately, it's just not safe. We're going to have to remind parents that if you come with your child in a car seat, that car seat has to go on the chair. Your car seat can't go on the floor because then it won't be 6 feet away from the person in front of you. If you come with a stroller, your stroller can't go at the end of the row or in the middle of the row because then it wouldn't be 6 feet away from the person in front of you. There's arrows all over the place, just like Safeway, just like Walmart. We're going to remind people to follow the arrows. And trust me, after I reminded somebody on Sunday, I didn't follow the arrows. So we all need to be reminded. We'll need to remind people that we're going to exit the opposite way that we sat people. So just like a funeral, we're going to exit in a specific way. We're going to seat people from front to back. We're going to exit from back to front. Our ushers are going to be letting people know when their row can exit. And we're going to remind people that they need to exit the building immediately after the service is dismissed to minimize the amount of time that we're together inside. So those are the 4 positions. That's the information that I have for you. Does anybody have any questions? Mary.
The washrooms. Is there somebody wiping down and sanitizing the washrooms as they're being used?
No. That's not a requirement anywhere.
Okay.
If you go to any public washroom, they're not cleaned after every time somebody uses them. The regulation is that your washrooms have to be cleaned more often. So if we go to 2 services, washrooms will have to be cleaned in between the 2 services. But as long as we have 1 service, we have an entire week to clean them before the next time that we're used.
Okay.
Somebody asked the question, is the government saying that we can't sing? No, the government's not saying that we can't sing. One of the things that the reopening committee had to wrestle with is not what can we do, but what should we do? And it was a very difficult decision to have church without singing. The majority of people that responded to our survey would have preferred to have singing. The one thing that is has been universally said is that we don't want to be the first place where somebody gets sick. We don't want to be the place where the outbreak first takes place. So we want to do everything we can to make it as safe as possible. And right now, for the month of August, there won't be any singing. We don't know what's going to happen in September. We don't know what's going to happen in September with the number of services. Are we going to increase to 2 services or more to make it more, to get more people into church? We haven't decided that yet. We just know that for now, we're not going to have 2 services and we're not going to permit singing. I mean, I found it very difficult on Sunday not to sing, but it made me clap. It made me tap my feet a little more. I did a little bit of dancing. No, the government didn't decide that. Our reopening committee decided that.
Sorry.
Anybody else have any questions? Don't be shy. Now's the time to ask.
Pastor Mel, is there going to be bulleted information at each station re the task that should be performed there? Like the temperature check station, is there going to be info there as to the temperatures that are allowed and the ones that are red flags?
Yep.
Okay.
So the checklist with the questions and the script Also includes, what to say if somebody does answer yes to one of the questions. If somebody says, yes, I have been outside of Canada in the last 14 days, we give the screening people information as to what to say. We also tell them, what to do if somebody has a temperature over 37.5 degrees once or twice. The other stations, I would suggest that those people take a copy of the information that's available in the chat, that link. That has the particulars for their station as far as what we want them to do. But only the screening station has a specific script for them to follow.
I have a question. If just say we got 2 or 3 families all come in at one time, the screening people are dealing with somebody and there could be the other family standing by the door. Are the other ones going to be asked to wait outside to keep the social distancing?
Yeah, we've changed the setup a little bit from Sunday, from when you were there, Donna. There's a whole lot more room inside the building now before the screening station. But just like on Sunday, when people came and realized there was somebody in line in front of them and they couldn't stand inside, they did wait outside. So we'll be anticipating that people do that. If we have to, we will move people back a little bit. We've got those 6-foot stickers on the floor. They're 6 feet apart. So hopefully people know and recognize those and stay back. But if we have to ask people to wait outside, we will do that. But we've laid it out now, so there's much more room. There would be room for a family at the table, a family 6 feet behind that, and a family 6 feet behind that before we get to the door.
Good.
These are good questions, people.
I see, was that Alana asking about if we have to pre-register seats as volunteers, and Pastor Fred said, no, we just needed to check, text check-in.
Yeah.
What are you suggesting about the kids that we take with us, because they aren't volunteering? Are we pre-registering for our children, the volunteers?
Yes. If you're volunteering, anybody that's not volunteering in your family needs to pre-register for a spot. So if Alana is scheduled to serve on Sunday morning, but Tom and the girls aren't, and they want to come to church, they would have to pre-register to give themselves a spot. Because we're not assuming that the entire family is going to come when you serve. What else we got here?
Something about listening to YouTube videos, and the other one was, what if somebody refused to get their temperature checked?
Yeah, if somebody refuses to answer the questions or has their temperature checked, that's when you call a staff person. And we let the staff people handle the difficult questions like that. Really what it comes down to, if somebody's not willing to have their temperature taken or is not willing to answer the screening questions, they've really forfeited their opportunity to come to church that Sunday. I don't anticipate that's going to happen. People are going to be as cooperative as we are kind and humble to them. As long as it doesn't become a confrontation, I think we're probably going to be okay. But there's nothing that says that we have to let somebody into church. Just like if somebody came to church with a knife or a gun or something like that, we would say, nope, we're not going to allow you in today.
Pastor Mel, I know I've heard this around with especially older persons who are who carries a high temperature generally because of menopause or other hormonal issues that they have. Is there any room for, or are we just saying if you're above that temperature after 2 checks, we cannot accommodate?
Yeah, at this point, that's what it is. We've used the best information that's available. We've taken a temperature, it's 37.5 degrees Celsius, by the way. And it's not necessarily that person that we have to really worry about. It's everybody else that's going to be in the building. So we'll do what best information we have, and right now that's 37.5 degrees. So if you test at 37.8, and then 10 minutes later you test at 37.5, then you're in, right? So it has to be 2 temperature checks of 37.5 degrees, 10 minutes apart. And that's similar to what happens in an airport before you get on an airplane, or anywhere else where they check your temperature. It's not just 1 temperature check, it's 2 after 10 minutes. Okay, so somebody asked, how early in the week do we have to check in? You can't check in until you get to the building. You can reserve a place on Monday for the coming Sunday. So today you could have reserved a spot for August the 2nd if it was open. But as far as check-in goes, check-in doesn't happen until you get to the building. Reserving, that saves a spot for you. But let's say you reserve a spot on Tuesday. On Thursday, your grandma, long lost grandma, takes suddenly ill and you've got to rush to Winnipeg. Then you're not checking in, so we won't record your visit then. So you don't check in until you get to the building, but you reserve up to 7 days beforehand.
Okay, services start at what time? At 11?
Okay, so this is a little bit confusing. This week, service starts at 11. When we're in person on August the 9th, service will start at 10 o'clock.
So
Okay.
what time do we come, if you're volunteering or whatever, what time are we supposed to be at the church? Because it's not going to be open to socialize like times before, right?
Right. So volunteers should be there at 9:15. Okay, for the month of August, be there at 9:15. The doors open at 9:30. Our guests can't show up to church until 30 minutes beforehand. So if you're there 15 minutes before that, you can get in your spot, you can get your mask on, you can get all your stuff ready to go, you can put your purse away, that kind of thing. And then we'll be ready for the guests when they arrive at 9:30. That's a good question.
Pastor Mel, you had mentioned nobody going downstairs, having access to downstairs. I can't remember. Are we locking the doors to ensure people aren't going down there, or is somebody standing there to let people know?
Well, there's no door at the top of the stairs, so we can't actually lock the doors. We can't actually lock interior doors that access the stairways because they all access exits, but everything's clearly marked. There's a big no entry sign at the top of the stairs. There's signs on the nursery, on the nursing mom's room, the door to downstairs and the door to offices all say temporarily closed. And any volunteer or staff member that sees somebody going where they're not supposed to, just like they would at any other time, would just say, hey, you really shouldn't be here. It's gonna be really dark downstairs too, so it's not going to be it's not going to be very friendly looking.
That doesn't work. We're looking at installing the infrared sensors.
Lasers, yeah, cut people off at the knees.
Lasers, yeah. Just zap them.
Yeah, I'm just thinking of washroom, because I know the tendency is if somebody's in that one washroom that's taking a long time, people would want to run down to access the ones down there. If we're talking about everyone using that one washroom there, so that's a concern.
Now remember, everyone is now 40 people, not 175 people. So that's going to mean, on Sunday we had 22 people in the building. I think I saw maybe 1 or 2 people get up to go to the washroom during the time. And they were all there for almost 2 hours because they were there well in advance and getting ready and that kind of thing. People are going to be in the building if they're there at 9:30, an hour and a half later, they're going to be on their way out the door. So there probably won't be that many people accessing the washroom at the same time. But it's pretty obvious at the top of the stairs that you're not supposed to go downstairs.
We can tackle them.
Karen, you go, girl.
Maybe we'll have to equip everybody with tasers or something like that, just to electrocute them.
Information for reservation is on our website. Is that
No.
where we're directing people to reserve
Mm.
seats?
No, we're going to be putting it all on Facebook. You can't actually reserve space on our website. It has to be done from a mobile phone. Because it's connected to your cell phone number. So I can't register the Ogilvies on my cell phone. I can only register the Versluises on my cell phone. So through announcements and through our Facebook page, we're going to be sharing that a lot. It's a very simple process. You text the word reserve to 204-677-3435 and follow the links. So it's something that we've repeated 1,000 times. It's just a different word. So we'll be trying to get the word out over the next week or so on Facebook and by email if we have to, just to let people know what they need to do.
I have a question.
Sorry to cut you off, Mary, but even since we have all the volunteers here, even word of mouth, just a matter of if someone has no idea, you let them know. Okay, text reserve to 204-677-3435 would go a long way, because you could direct them to Facebook and then they get lost in Facebook, or you could direct them, even if we had a website, direct them to a website. So I think one of the most effective things would be word of mouth, and telling them, the word is reserve to reserve, and the word is check in to check in. You check in when you're in person, and the number is our church phone number, right? So I think we also have that responsibility of trying to facilitating that, instead of saying for this particular thing, instead of saying go to Facebook or just let them know, text this word to this number. Right. I think that would go a long way.
And I think we can actually put the instructions on our webpage. That could be part of our advertising for the service on August 9th to let people know how to reserve. They just can't do it from the website. They can't click on a link on the website to reserve. Sorry, Mary, you had a
That's okay.
question?
No. My question was kind of like, what if somebody, and we don't all have cell phones. Say somebody does not have a cell phone, how would they reserve?
Well, for the 5% of the population that doesn't have a cell phone, they could call the church office and we would find a way to reserve a spot for them.
Thank you. Yeah.
But that would certainly not be preferable. Sorry?
I have 2 suggestions.
Yeah.
One in the bathroom situation, maybe having the wipes in the container on the back of the toilet. So if somebody wants to personally do it themselves, wipe the toilet off, but we would probably need to have a sign saying, please do not put the wipes in the toilet.
Oh, yeah.
And then the other thing would be, one of the biggest problems that we had with that bathroom upstairs was people would go in there and use their cell phones, use it like a little private office. Is having a sign on there, maybe putting a sign on the wall, please refrain from using your cell phones in the bathroom. I mean, they may not stop them, but it might help.
Yeah.
Thank you for those suggestions. I think we have the wipe situation covered just with paper towels. People can use paper towels to flush the toilet or whatever, and that would avoid gumming up the sewer system with the wipes. And I think we'll leave the signage with the cell phones for now. When you see the number of signs we have up in the church already, we have sign overload. Telling people how to cough, telling people where to stand, telling people what direction to go in. So I'm a little bit leery of adding more signs. We would become the church of signs. So if it becomes a problem, we'll address it. But until it does, I think we'll probably just count on people being as quick as possible right now. These are all very good questions and comments. Much appreciated. This is really going to help us a lot.
Just going back to the question of, so we know how early we can reserve. In terms of how late you can reserve up until that Sunday morning. Is that correct?
As long as there's spots left.
Stay
Yeah.
up until spots are left.
Yeah. Just want to clarify because anyone had a question, wasn't sure. That.
Yeah.
No,
Somebody
it's
asked.
a good question.
Somebody asked the question, when you text reserve for a spot, will you then be prompted to say how many are in your group or family? Yes. You'll reserve a spot for how many people are in your group. So not every individual in your family has to reserve. So when Mary wants to reserve a spot for her and Fred and Luna and Cyrus, she would tell us 4. Let's say something during the week changes. Fred's going to be out of town. If she goes back in to reserve again, she can change it to 3. Your last reservation is the most up-to-date reservation. That's the one the system will use. So if you reserve a spot for one person and all of a sudden you know that your spouse is going to be able to come with you, as long as there's space available, you can change it to 2 anytime during the week.
But if you're servicing, like if you're helper, volunteer, then you don't register just your family.
Right. You only reserve the people that are not serving on that Sunday. So Caroline asked, somebody asked, if I'm volunteering but not reserving, does that mean I should be prepared not to be able to sit with my family? No, you can sit with your family. If your family is seated in a row that accommodates you, then of course you can sit with them. You don't have to reserve a spot with your family to sit with your family. You just have to be part of your family.
So then did I understand, if we are volunteering that Sunday, we don't register?
No, you don't have to reserve yourself a spot if you're serving. So if
So
you're...
So
ahead,
then
Donna.
when we come in, we will just go, to the checkout and everything, and we will already be in there because of the volunteering.
No, we've accommodated for all the people that are serving in the check-in amount. So we have 40 spots that are available for reservation, but we have 50 spots available for check-in. So the difference is the 10 people that are going to serve. The 6 people that are serving, plus the pastor, plus the sound people, and then maybe a spot or 2 left over for people who haven't registered in advance. So Donna, for instance, if you were serving on a Sunday morning, but Randy wasn't serving that Sunday, he would have to reserve a spot, but you would not. Okay?
So when are we going to know in advance when we're serving, so that if we find out, like say Friday or Saturday, that we're not volunteering or we're not scheduled for that week, and we go to reserve a place and there's only one place left, so that means Randy and I cannot come because there's no seating? Is that right?
Yeah. So let me think back to the question that you asked again. I got to stop reading the chat questions because they get me distracted from what I was listening to. Yeah. So you, just like before, we'll use Planning Center to schedule people. So oftentimes we schedule 3 months in advance, right? We won't be scheduling that far in advance until we know what we're doing about our services in September, but we hope to have a schedule done for August tomorrow. So then you'll get an email from Planning Center that says you're scheduled to serve in this service on this date, and you confirm that you're available, yes or no. So that you will know well in advance.
So just say I've already registered, and then I'm put on for Sunday.
Yeah.
Is that going to cause a problem because I've already registered, or you'll just take that in consideration when you look at who's registered? You'll see that I've already reserved.
I don't see who's reserved. I only see numbers. I can only check and see how many spots are left. That's all I can do.
So that means then if I am going to be volunteering on Sunday, that means then there's going to be 4 seats for us because two have already been reserved, And if you're going to reserve 2 because I'm volunteering, that's 4 seats.
If
That's
you know that you're serving on Sunday and you've reserved a spot, you should go back in and change your reservation to 0.
Okay, all right.
So the question here, Pastor Mel, if all 40 spots are reserved and persons arrive without reservation, how long do they have to wait to find out if they can stay? Like how long are we giving those who reserve spots time to arrive before forfeiting their spot?
We haven't considered telling somebody that their spot's been forfeited. We're going to assume that everybody that reserved a spot shows up. So if you show up and there's no space for you because you haven't reserved a spot,
Just move in.
we're gonna probably tell you that you should try again another week. If we consistently find people are reserving spaces and then not showing up, we might have to address that differently. But right now there's a little bit of wiggle room in there with 1 or 2 people, depending on how many people we have serving, how many people are in the tech booth, how many staff people are going to be on site in the morning. There are a couple spots available, but not too many. But I don't anticipate that we'll be telling people that, oh, you showed up too late for church, you're not going to get your spot this week.
Give away a seat.
How rude.
Formula for fight.
I have to go, so I'm just gonna say bye and God bless you.
Thank you, Mary. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.
I'm just trying to cancel my reservation. It won't accept a 0.
It won't accept a 0?
No.
Okay, I'll have to look into that.
Yeah, check into it because I might have got 10 on there.
10.
Because I hit the 0 and I thought I would take the 1 out. I went back canceled, and then I canceled the 1 and tried to put the 0 back on, but it won't take it.
Okay, I will
Check into that.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you be able to change it if you checked in instead of reserved?
Well, I guess
reserve the seat.
if you reserved a seat, like 1 seat, and you don't want that seat, how do you change it to 0 or cancel a reservation?
Right, I see.
Right. So in Donna's case, if she inadvertently reserved a seat for 2 people and found out that her and Randy are serving, how can we give those 2 spots back? How can we put them back?
I can answer that because we actually did that by accident. Ellie and I won't be here, and we were kind of checking out the reservation system, and I had reserved spots, and then Jason realized, wait, you won't be there to check in, so you need to cancel the reservation, and I need to reserve because he'd be the one there with the boys and not me. And so I just went and did the exact same thing I had done previously, right into the thing, and there's a button on the bottom that says cancel reservation or edit reservation, and then I just went in and I just canceled it.
Okay.
And then it was pretty straightforward. I thought I was going to have to do some weird login thing, but I just had to go to the exact same link, and it saved my information to say, oh, you've already reserved with this phone. And I said, yeah. So then I canceled it. So then Jason could go in and reserve for our family because he'd be the one there to check in.
Okay. So do you
That
try,
makes
can you try that, Ed?
Yeah, I did cancel, so that's all you have to do. You don't have to put a
so there you
0
go.
on. Okay, awesome. Thanks, Caroline.
No problem.
So if you're changing numbers, you would cancel and then go back into putting the correct numbers, or is there an edit to change the number?
You just make a new reservation with the correct number. So let's say you reserved for 4 people, right? But you found out, oh, Danny's going to be away or Douglas is going to be away. If you went back in and made a reservation for 3 people, that would cancel your reservation for 4 and make a new one for 3. So whatever your last reservation is, that's the number the system uses.
Oh, Pastor Mel, while we're on here, will staff automatically be written in weekly? No, okay.
No. And one of the things we're going to have to discuss as a staff is how, if we have a large number of people that want to be in church on Sunday, we may not have all the staff in church every Sunday. So, because 50 is the number, that's it. Can't be 51, it's 50. So.
Okay. The phase 4 announcements that were made on Saturday, none of that affects us with no limit on faith gathering.
Actually, they didn't change the numbers, so we didn't actually get a bump in numbers. That's one of the things that they backpedaled on, that and the 14-day 14-day quarantine. They didn't change that either. Frankly, if the number goes up to 100 people, we'll still have a maximum about where we're at right now. We can fit about 75 chairs in the building. I think that's what the number is there right now. But I think when you go with the different size families sitting in rows of 5 people, we're not going to get much more than 50 people anyway.
Okay.
So, Pastor Mel, you are saying that the staff do not need to reserve seats. Is that what you said?
No, I did not say that.
Okay, what I'm saying is because you said that sometimes not all staff members will be in church.
Right. So the way it stands right now is that we have 50 spaces, 40 of those for the general public, 10 of those for people that are serving. If we find out that only 30 people want to come to church every week, then there's room for all the staff to come every week. If we have the maximum number of people checking in, which is 40, and we have all the volunteers serving, which would be about 8 people, then we only have 2 spots left unaccounted for. That means the staff, if you're not serving, if there's not something specific that you're supposed to be doing that Sunday, we would say, now you do church from home. But like I said, we haven't gotten to that point yet. We don't know what the numbers are going to be. We don't know what the response is going to be. So for everyone, the suggestion will be, if you were in church this week, you may not get to come to church next week if it's a popular attraction, if people want to be there. So we will, in the staff's case, we want them there if they need to be there, and if there's space for them to be there. But again, if they don't have to be there, like if Pastor Fred's not serving in the sound booth, and he's been there the last 3 weeks in a row, we might say, stay home, give somebody else an opportunity to come to church. Same with your family, Go ahead.
So go ahead.
Go ahead.
And so my question would be, so does it mean that I have to wait before I reserve? That's actually the main question, because if I need to know what the state of attendance is going to be before I reserve my space, and maybe for my family member, I just want to know what to do, because I can always reserve seat on the first day.
Yeah.
But if I need to wait, yes. So what would you advise? Want me to go right away, and if I have to free up the seats or something?
Well, if you're serving on Sunday, then you don't have to worry about saving yourself a spot, right? So if you're preaching on Sunday, you don't have to get in and reserve a spot. If there's something specific you're doing, if you're serving in a particular spot, you don't have to worry about reserving your spot. Okay. And if it's for your family, if your family has to be with you, right? If Moyo's on call and she's going to be at the hospital and your kids have to come with you, yes, the first day, reserve a spot for the kids to make sure that you've got one. Okay. If your family's been in church 3 weeks in a row and you're not serving on a Sunday, then wait till later in the week and see if there's space, if the seats haven't all been snapped up.
Okay.
Okay, and that's just being polite, so that, you know, as much as we want to, you know, be in church, you know, often, we want to give everybody a chance to be in church. So, you know, maybe, you know, we've gone from no church to church once a month, or church, you know, once every 2 weeks. That might be kind of how we, you know, we want to work that out. But I think if you're serving and your kids have to be with you, and I understand your situation, then yes, reserve a spot as soon as you have to, or as soon as you can, for your kids, to make sure there's space for them.
Okay.
Any more questions? This is really good. I really appreciate this. Okay, I think that's it for tonight. Thank you very, very much, everyone. I have a little bit of information from some of you about what you do or what you don't want to do, so I will take that into consideration. If you did not respond in the chat about what you wanted to do, or you didn't tell me in advance what position you did or did not want to do, send me an email as soon as possible, because tomorrow morning I'm going to start making some schedules for August. Okay?
Okie dokie.
Okay. Good night, everyone.
Night.
Hang on. Wendy is opting out
I sent it.
for. She sent you text already? Okay.
You did, yeah.